cruelness of one man be ended once and for all, so River State can liberate. Kids should focus. Okay, John, I wouldn't do that. Let's see. This one says, "Merry Christmas, Mr. Kalada Korubata. We live in a world where people drink medicine for another man. The resolution is a win-win for all parties. I don't know why people are just blowing it out of proportion. I give kudos to Governor Singh for accepting peace and not war. It's been pushed by people around him. Let's leave it like that. Don't call them fans, please. But you said the same people who fought PK for bringing him as governor. Let peace lead, Comrade Eluwa Miracle from Rukboko. This one says, please, I don't have one naira in my... Okay, not for us, guys. Let's go now to the conversation for this hour. 14 minutes gone past the hour of 5. Merry Christmas to you, and thank you for spending your Christmas with me. I've got nowhere else to go. You're my family. You're my love. You're everything to me, and so we will do what we know how to do best. Talk. And not just talk trivial talk or frivolous talk. We talk for development of our state, of our country, of our nation, of the world if possible. And yes, you and I will do that because we love each other and we can't do without each other. And this love affair is not going anywhere anytime soon, right? All right, so that being said, what's my topic for now? My topic for now is that there is a report. Actually, there's several reports. But I like this particular report that is talking about 4 ministers who are currently being investigated by the EFCC. 4 former ministers, I should say. Sorry about that. As a matter of fact, the way the newspaper put it, the newspaper said 4 Buhari's ministers. 4 of them are currently being investigated. So we already know that Emefiele is the first man out of the people appointed by Buhari who underwent, he's still undergoing investigation. As a matter of fact, he has had his day in court, and the court case was adjourned. He just recently got, bail. He met his bail conditions, I think, on Friday. So he was lucky not to have spent the Christmas in jail. We also saw Bawa. Bawa was the second man to undergo investigation, still undergoing investigations, as a matter of fact. Now we have 4 ministers under the Buhari's administration have been called and they are being probed. Now, there were stories around whether Adi Sirika will be probed. Of course, last week, we talked about it. The humanitarian minister under Buhari. Also, a name was mentioned for a probe because a huge amount of money was said to have been looted, from that ministry or through that ministry. According to the Punch today, it says 187 billion naira fraud. EFCC arrests humanitarian ministries contractor, probes 4 Buhari ministers. So we're going to read, so we're going to know who these 4 ministers under Buhari's administration are. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested a contractor, they mentioned his name, in connection with the ongoing probe into the 37 billion naira allegedly laundered by the Ministry of Humanitarian Minister Sadiya Umar Farouk, a top EFCC official who at 50 billion naira. So, for the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, that's Umar Farouk, 37 billion naira has been investigated. And then for the other 3 ministries, about 150 billion naira. So an average of 50 billion naira per ministry, I can say. The report says it is not only Umar Farouk we are investigating. 3 other former ministers are also under probe. They were allegedly involved in graft to the tune of 150 billion naira. A credible source in the EFCC confided in that correspondent. Interesting, right? Interesting. For now, we know it is just Umar Farouk, Sadiya Umar Farouk, who is being investigated. School feeding, all the things she did, all the the palliatives, all of it. Someone just sent a message saying Emefiele wasn't appointed by Buhari. You're wrong. It was first appointed by Goodluck, but when his time finished, was he not reappointed? he was re-upped. So that was an appointment by Buhari, or was some other person? Did some other person come in to appoint him? Think about that. So back to what we're saying. So we know that Umar Farouk is one of the 4 ministers. We don't know the other 3 yet, and there is the likelihood that many more may be investigated and probed. However, in all of this, nobody has thought about the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. Now, I'm very much concerned about this. I know it's Christmas Day, but we still should talk. I'm very much concerned about this because I do remember when all the politicking was becoming very, very, what do you call it now? Very severe or intense. Intense is the right word at a particular time. We learned that Obasanjo had so much money spent on, is it CCTVs? Also spent on the power sector, the electrification of Nigeria, and yet we still don't have enough power supply. I hear we spend so much money, right? Under good luck administration, I also hear that we spend so much money in areas like rehabilitating the refineries. We spend so much money in paying for subsidy, and it was a conclusion at the time that subsidy is a crime. There was also the talk about not using the money budgeted for buying weapons to buy weapons. There were all of these conversations, and conversations about fraudulent activities happening at the presidency. Was any of these individuals, Yaradua is no longer with us, so we can't call him for a probe. Maybe we can probe, even posthumous. But I'm wondering, did anybody call Obasanjo? Did anybody call Goodluck Jonathan? I guess not. So I'm wondering, will they call Buhari? Let's take this even a bit further to the military era. So much has been said about Abacha. One would think that maybe, posthumously, we could have, done some kind of trial to find, because we do that to innocent people. We say, okay, they are dead, but investigations have been made, and so we cleared their names. Should we not also do that too? So much have been said. We're still receiving loots. We're still receiving loots from different countries. More still to come. And I remember the then president would say, Abacha did not, commit a crime, or there's a way he put it. I can't remember now. Let's even go beyond Abacha and go to IBB. There were also allegations. Did anybody investigate? For those of you who know the popular Fela song, those were some of the allegations. But did anybody investigate? These are the questions. We can go back, to other leaders who led us. Who led us. There were talks about Shagari and his government, and there were talks about not governing well and incompetence and all of that stuff, and how he dragged the economy. Everybody's got the narratives. I'm just reporting what I've read. Did anybody call them for an investigation or a probe? No. And it looks like there is an unwritten agreement that once you enter Asu Rock and you come out, you're untouchable. Now, I have not said all of these people mentioned have committed a crime or, are guilty of looting or anything. But I said that they are allegations, but have they been probed? No. And ministers were probed. Also come to mind. It's the easy one to remember. And then I'm thinking, if there is an ongoing, and by the way, all of these people are not guilty yet, from Emefiele to Bawa to Sadiq Farouk to the other 3 ministers and many more that will join. They are not guilty until the court declares them guilty, but they have been probed. So I'm wondering if the immunity follows these past leaders, or this past residents of Aso Rock outside Aso Rock. We've got a commercial break. When I come back, I ask my question. Do stay tuned.
Info.
All right, it's the bottom of the hour, or rather now, 29 minutes gone to 29 minutes to the top of the hour. I beg your pardon. You're still listening to Hard Facts at 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kala Dakarubatibo. Greetings to you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I hope you're having fun. And we're talking, and I'm asking a question. I mean, it's a thought of mine I'm getting to share on the show, and I'm wondering if we have about 4 ministers, then appointees, Bawa Emefiele, appointees of the president being investigated, shouldn't the president also be called, into the investigation room? Or do we all have a silent agreement as to anybody who has lived in Aso Rock or anybody who has been president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should not even be investigated? I'm trying to get an answer to this question. Yet again, they are not guilty until a court declares so. But would they ever have their day in court? And that's a question that I would like to ask. And even in the time past, we've seen ministers or people who served in ministerial roles, being investigated by the EFCC, but we've not seen any conviction like the way we do the media trials. In the media trials, you hear people, this person, like for now, Emefiele stole this, Emefiele had 593 accounts, Emefiele has... But, in time past, after all these media trials, they will go to court and, the person would walk free. So then it begs the question, aren't we weakening our institutions? If the answer is the obvious, then do we ever think that Nigeria will be great if we continue to weaken our institutions? And if the answer is still, the obvious, then shouldn't we be doing something as to strengthening our institutions? And maybe instead of us clamoring for political activities or fighting for politics, maybe we should be fighting for our institutions to be strengthened, and so that you and I can have a better society. Because when institutions are strengthened, it means that the law is indeed placed above. It's not to write the law, it's to implement the law. And for you to implement the law, you need institutions to implement the law. And maybe it is difficult to fight crime in Nigeria because the police has not been strengthened as an institution. I'm just saying. But let's get your thoughts on this. 26 minutes to the top of the hour now. Let's use the 26 minutes to talk about this very issue. Shouldn't we be looking at prosecuting past leaders? And if we maybe get one to pay for, whatever crime, if there are any, maybe others who are following, others who are coming in, successors, will want to do the right thing. And even governors and even all the other people who are in the arm of affairs in the governance structure in Nigeria. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Those are the call numbers. But for WhatsApp, you can send your WhatsApp message to the number 0809 030 6416. We're live on Facebook, Nigeria Info PH. We're live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH, and we're live on X, Nigeria Info PH. You could also, follow me on socials. I think I want to be active this new year. So I'm coming out of my shell. So you can follow me on socials. The Kalada, TheKalada. That is my handle for all my social media platforms. All right. That being said, let's get your take. Let's get your thoughts, and let's talk food development. I've got Ezekiel from Ubumini. Ezekiel, welcome. What is on your mind?
Good afternoon once more.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
You see, respond to your references about the past leaders. That is why some of us are agitating for these same people, these same Nigerian leaders. I mean, the survived ones, right from Obasanjo to Buhari. Even if Gowan and Shadare are weak, to come into the civilian realm. I think Obasanjo and Buhari and others are the cause of whatever thing that is happening now in Nigeria. Because of this same group, these cycling leaders in Nigeria, that is why you can't have any effective probing.
Okay.
I don't know if there is any oath or any secret agreement in that Asorok, right from Lagos to Abuja, that made them or that is making them not to probe each other one after the other. You see that anybody that sees himself in any top position will see that somebody elsewhere has suffered something just like Emefiele now suffering. But it will still be unfortunate that nobody will take precaution.
Okay.
Emefiele will not still serve as a deterrent to these high top politicians.
All right.
So in my own opinion, I feel that everybody should be probed, even up to councillor.
All right then. All right. All right. Thank you very much. I've got to
Thank
go
you
now.
very much.
I've got to go.
Thank you,
Easy,
Ken.
Ken. Thank you.
From
I've got Obina from Iriebe. Obina, welcome. What is on your mind?
Yes. Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah.
Canada.
Merry Christmas.
Man of the people,
Merry Christmas.
for the people.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
You see, I think it's an understatement to say that we are destroying an institution.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, we don't even have institutions at all.
Okay.
The politicians have conspired against themselves, and they have destroyed the institution, and they are using our public funds to help themselves out. As a matter of fact, there have been many proofs, counter proofs in this country. Even in the media and everywhere, people have been proved, and nothing came out of it.
Mm.
So this one, they are talking about Sadiq, and even everything. I think what happened is that when the politicians say that they have said on their toes, they will be pretending as if they are proving you what.
All right.
What happened to Gratuity? What happened to Sanusi, Sanusi, and all that? All these people are still approving the taxes. Nothing come out. As a matter of fact, they told us that most of the governors have been immunity, that when they go out of power, they will be persecuted. How many governors have been persecuted today? So let's just stop talking else.
All right. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Obina.
We don't have institutions
All right.
of destroying the one.
All right.
They have
Obina, thank you very much. I've got to move on now. Thank you very much. I've got to move on. But I just quickly want to mention before I go to Braid, who's calling from Oginigba, that I don't know if you're following what's happening in the United States, but you would have heard the report that Donald Trump has been barred by the Supreme Court from running for the 2024 elections. I guess I had that report right? So, I mean, that's a former president. He was investigated, taken to court. He had this day in court. The Supreme Court has made this statement. It's going to hamper his chances. By the way, according to polls, he was leading, and there were chances that he was going to take the ticket yet again. But these are the issues. They've got a system. They've got institutions that work. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong for the Supreme Court to have, stopped him. But hey, that's what it is. I've got Braid from Oginigba. Let's get your thoughts and let's hear from you.
Hello, good evening, Canada.
Greetings to you. Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. Braid, go straight to the point. Let's hear you.
Thank you, Canada. In Nigeria, we have strong men and weak institutions. Yeah, Canada. Since Obasanjo, I have not seen any president that has been tried in Nigerian court. Got me wrong.
Okay.
They will agree with me. Tijani is still also going through prosecution. That is Jonathan administration. The former administration, that is the Yaradua. You have the likes of the central bank governors. You have the EFCC going travel, and also they said about 4 former ministers. Now, what happens to the president that they really serve under? Are you telling me that they are unaware of all this alleged corruption? So anyone that has heard that also rock is corruption free or in fact everlasting humility. So I think the truth is that our court, that is what I would blame. Because the court has been played out to the politician.
Okay.
So the politician dictates for them what to do, the judgment you can give.
Do you think Braid, calm down. Yes. Do you think it's actually the court's fault because lawyers will go in there and lawyers will argue, and it is who has the best arguments that will get the victory? It's not the court's fault. The court doesn't do investigations. The court does not go out there to verify statements. It's the arguments and proof before it that will determine the victory or the victor.
Canada.
Yeah.
I will blame the court.
Okay.
The judges.
Okay.
Mostly the Supreme Court judges.
Okay.
They are the people that are keeping Nigeria into this comatose.
Okay.
And the high level of corruption. They are the people. They are also collaborators. If you agree with me, sometimes there was an arrest, even in River State, a judge, where a sitting governor went and prevent the EFCC. And it just went like that. What happens after then?
Okay. All right.
So that is the kind of country we have.
Okay. Braid, I've got to go. Braid, I've got to go.
Justice has been blindfolded.
Okay.
For the political high and mighty.
All right. Thank you, Braid. Thank you, Braid.
The high and mighty in Nigeria.
Okay, the high and mighty, you say. Sorry, Kechiku from Ogunigba. I'm really sorry for keeping you that long. I had so many questions to ask Braid, who was also calling from Ogunigba. This one's okay. I think I've read this. You said Emefiele wasn't appointed by Buhari. He was appointed by President Goodluck Jonathan in 2014. But after his first term, it expired and he had to be appointed again. And that's why he's called reappointed. So he was also appointed by the president or the former president Muhammadu Buhari, because Buhari could have said no, go your way and I'll take someone else. But this one says ongoing probe by EFCC over 187 billion naira laundered in different accounts. I think the Minister of Humanitarian should be properly investigated because a lot happened in that ministry. Obina, by the way, she's not the only one who laundered that amount. It's a combination of the 4 ministers, 150 for 3, 37 for the humanitarian minister at the time. This one says, man of the people, greetings. Buhari didn't fight corruption. He only romanced corruption throughout his 8 years administration. The former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs lied to Nigerians in school feeding program during the COVID-19. This is from Thank God Ability at Twig. But now let's look at it from this prism. What if the president at the time, there were 3 things now, I can't remember, but he wanted, I think, corruption, security, and poverty alleviation. I think those 3. And let's say he really wanted to do it, but then the people he surrounded himself with, the people who made it very difficult. Maybe for instance Emefiele, maybe for instance Farouk, and maybe that's why they're being investigated. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the president doesn't know about this." Could that be the reason? I don't know. Is that a plausible reason? No, I'm wondering. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. And this one says, Mr. Kaladako Rubatibo, in Nigeria, the present president is a product of the previous. So how do you expect them to probe their predecessors? Probing the previous president would have happened in the case of Jonathan and Buhari, but because of the call Jonathan made, prevented it from happening. Nigeria is one country where the president is a god and remains untouchable. There was a country, you say, Comrade Eluwa Miracle from Rukpoku. I don't know if there was, I know there is. This one says, I would not support the trial of any president for actions he took in office or as a consequence of the incompetence of their subordinates, except it is for a crime that was laced with violence, sexual offenses, or discrimination. We haven't gotten to the day where the governors have unfettered prerogative to appoint commissioners. How then do we imagine presidents appoint their ministers on their own? Even in the US, until the unusual President Donald Trump, no US president ever tempted US citizens to the extent it warranted investigation that led to trial, apart from President Nixon and even President Richard Nixon before his official indictment of his successors. President Gerald Ford pardoned him into the future of any crime he may have committed while in office. President Ford argued that dragging a president to court ridicules the office of the president of a country and would make every citizen lose a degree of confidence in the office and would forever second-guess every decision of the office regardless of who holds it. Tech from Weibo. I get your argument, Tex. However, Tex, I want you to see that when, for instance, I remember when Amechi was commissioning the DWC project or something. I mean, the president took glory for it. He was president. Okay, for instance, the refineries that they say is about to start working, who will take the glory for it? The president, of course. But of course, the ministers were the ones who put it into action, right from even the former government. So if that is the case, if the president will take the glory for good things, why should he not? I mean, in government, in secondary school, when we're taught, it says the cabinet is a cabinet of the president, and any good thing they do is for the president, and any bad thing they do is for the president. I've got Allah from Bonny Island. Allah, welcome. What's on your mind? Tell me.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, greetings to you.
Yes, I want Nigerians to know that there is no difference between European developed countries and Nigeria as far as the law is concerned and the penalties that goes along when you infringe the law.
Okay.
Over there, they all know that you can never infringe the law and you go unpunished.
Okay.
One day, even if it is 30, 50 years, they will catch up with you and you'll be judged accordingly. In our own case here, we know that you can infringe the law as long as you have the money.
Okay.
You can always pay your way through and you'll be free.
Okay.
Don't be deceived. There is no difference between the white man and the black man. We should put that into our heads.
Okay.
It is implementation. And we begin to know how to implement our policies and stand by it. And you see changes in our society.
Okay.
Corruption or not corruption. Nigeria is corrupt because we have people at the top corrupt who encourage corruption. The day we have a leader who stands firm and says this was stop, and they go and the law, whoever infringes the law to the letter, everything will change.
Okay.
We should begin to think of how to stand and maintain whatever the status quo, what it says, we follow it up, and our life will change.
All right, then.
That is what we are paying for dearly till tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much, Allah from Bonny Island.
That is my contribution.
Thank you very much. I've got Origi for all. Keep those calls coming in. This one says that there is an unknown immunity for life which the past and present head of states and or president of Nigeria enjoy. That makes them untouchable. Not even a call to answer for issues of public shame as a result of their misrule while in office. A country that disobeys the rule of law with impunity such as ours cannot progress fast. Prince said that one via WhatsApp. Prince, thank you. Thank God Ability Atwigwe is back. He says the case of former Secretary of the Federation has been swept under the carpet by Buhari's administration. I mean, I think they were not able to pursue that in court. I think whether they didn't have enough evidence, or I can't remember how the case went. But yeah, I remember what you're talking about. But let's keep the score. Let's keep those calls coming in, and let's get your thoughts on what we're talking about. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003 on Facebook. Wow, lots of messages. The trouble of Nigeria is eternity Let's stop disturbing ourselves. Oh, really? He said if Abacha was alive, nobody can probe him. Anti-corruption is a ox. From Cosmas Onyenike. Cosmas Onyenike comes back and says, until we go Jerry Rawlings' way, Nigeria can never be better. I don't agree with you on that one. If we go Jerry Rawlings' way, a lot of us, you and I inclusive, will go down. Kufre J. Dixon says, I think former President Buhari should be invited to defend himself over some of the allegations. Former President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, was invited to answer questions of his actions and inactions while in office. Why can't Nigeria do the same? Dixon Kufre from Canada. Let's see. Stanley Rentals, one menem, or is it one me? While I know they finish for Nigeria, he says. And lots of messages. 9 Wee Baratam says, Mr. Canada, as the EFCC probes the former ministers during the Buhari's administration so they should probe into the over $300 million Ogoni cleanup money paid as compensation to the Ogoni people. Names were mentioned and still no summon from EFCC to the alleged persons or carry out an investigation into the matter. All right, thank you very much. My goodness. Let's go back to the phone lines and let's see. I've got Progress from Elele. Progress, welcome. What is on your mind?
Yes. Good evening, Kalada. Good evening,
Progress, welcome.
Yes. Let me say that the recent past president of Nigeria is the most luckiest Nigeria ever.
Okay.
You know why?
You tell me.
There are a lot of atrocities, embezzlement that took place in the last 8 years. But nobody mentioned it. Nobody is talking about it. For example, for the first time, monkey swallow money in Nigeria.
Oh, interesting.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
What of the python? Python swallowed money.
But those cases
Rats and cockroaches.
Those
finished money in Nigeria.
Progress. Those cases went to court.
Nobody talk about them.
No. Progress. Those cases went to court, and the court demonstrated justice on those cases. So maybe you should do your research on that.
People went to jail, and the issue of the corruption. You know, alone cannot design money for Nigeria, but nobody mentioned all that happened to us in the beginning of this year. Everybody was mentioning the military.
Okay.
But nobody talked about Buhari.
But I did. I mentioned.
And Buhari had.
I'm with you. I have to go, by the way. I think there's a commercial coming up. But I was trying to tell you that I did mention Buhari. And I've been mentioning Buhari. And I've been saying, can the appointee or the one who was appointed, can you separate the appointed from the appointee? And which ways, we've got to go for commercial to stay tuned.
It's your Bole Fiesta.
No matter